Today we're talking voyage readiness, and if you want to have better voyages, you have to get on top of this. But here's the thing, I'm not going to give you a list of indispensable pre-departure checklists because that's not what you need. What you need to understand is the principle behind why these checklists work, then the tools you need to apply these principles in your own voyages. This is going to be the 3 core principles of voyage readiness, and if you can understand this, you get a lot more enjoyment out of your trips. I know this because I'm a boat owner and I build voyage readiness software. I've also spent the last 15 years working with safety critical medical devices, and a lot of what I learned there I've applied in my software. Tip number 1 is the foundation of everything. Identify your blind spots. What do I mean by that? Readiness is a total concept we can divide into 4 areas. First, we have what is visible and what is managed. In other words, the known knowns. We know what they are, the known knowns. We all have common wisdom about the things we have to check on our boat: fuel filters, impellers, oil, and we might even have checklists for managing these things. Now, for some people, that is what readiness means, what they manage. But let's take a look at the other areas of readiness. Then we have the known unknowns, the items we're aware of, but we've never really checked their status. For example, that seacock in that tight space behind the engine, and we have no idea about its condition. This represents one of the gaps in our boat's readiness. Next, we have a very important area, which is our instinct and experience, or in other words, the unknown knowns. So what does that mean? Instinct happens below the conscious level. These are just things that we do naturally. Experienced owners just know their boat is ready or can kind of sense what needs to be done or what's going wrong. However, the fallacy with this is it does rely a little bit on memory, and things can be missed. Importantly, to improve our readiness, we can build on our instinct and experience and make this knowledge explicit and leave absolutely nothing to chance. Finally, on boats, there are areas where we just don't know what we don't know. The unknown unknowns. This could be some chafed wiring behind a panel that was okay when it was installed 10 years ago, but now is about to be the cause of a severe electrical failure. It could be a hairline crack in a fuel line, and then all your diesel ends up in your bilge. I know this from personal experience. Now we've identified the 4 main categories of readiness, let's look at the next point. How ready do you want to be? On deciding how ready you want to be, it's really a process of explicitly moving everything into this known and managed box. It's really that simple. You work through every area to make sure that everything is managed. For example, my boat Lunreath. Now she's going through a major refit and there's a hell of a lot of things I don't know. But as you can see here, I've already started tracking 90 individual components and 43 different types of documents. And this leads us on to the next topic. What are the tools we can use to help manage all this complexity to get ready? Well, as you've probably seen, I developed a product called Yacht Prep. Here's a few words from me before we look at some other tools. If you're detail obsessed like me and you're looking for software to help you manage the complexity of voyage readiness, that's why I built Yacht Prep. You can sign up at yachtprep.com. I will help you on board. It only costs $14 a month or $99 a year. So back to readiness. Speaking to people on forum and based on my own experience, the majority of owners seem to manage their yachts through Excel, folders, and some existing apps. And the way of executing these is to print them out, laminate them, and then either use them as a visual reference during operations or with a marker, use it once, wipe it out, and do it again. Problem with all of these methods is they're very surface oriented to what you're dealing with, and there's no connection between what you put into that spreadsheet or the app and actually your systems. Everything is disconnected. The advantage of these systems are they're simple, easy to use, but they do a very poor job of creating a record of the history of your systems on board. And that can be problematic. We'll get on to that in another video, which is the importance of having the history of all of your systems on board correctly logged, tracked, and used to predict readiness. So those are the 3 core principles of great voyage readiness. Identify your blind spots, work out how ready you want to be, and move as much as you can into that visible managed box and pick the right tools for the job. So thank you for watching, hit subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.